Well, it's Monday again. Wow, I'm Dr. Laurie Davis, your host for the Dr. Laurie Davis Show, and my co host, Sylvia Somerville. Sylvia, it's Monday again. Like, what's going on?
I don't know where the time's going. It's just, hey, but the good part is soon it'll be summer.
I know. Let's talk about time. Do you find as you're getting older, time goes by faster? Because I sure as heck am finding that.
I do as well.
Wonder why.
Yesterday I thought it was Friday and somebody told me it was Sunday.
There we go. I wonder why the days fly by because I get up early. I get up at 7. I come down to the office at 8:30. I've already worked with a client this morning and now it's showtime. And then I have a lunch break and then it's another client. And then tonight we have our gathering. Like, really?
That's why the time is flying.
Oh, because I'm having fun?
Absolutely. We're having fun. We're busy. We're active. And that's
Yeah,
as it
we
should be.
are. We are. Yeah, we haven't let age get in the way, have we?
No grass grows under our feet.
Nope. So let's do an updated weather report. I had a very interesting weekend. Of course, I supported a friend who's lost a family member, and that entailed a 6-hour drive one way, overnight back, another 6 hours through rain, snow, sleet, hail, whiteouts, and we got home safely. So today we woke up to minus 31 here in Drayton Valley, Alberta. The sun is shining. When you look out the window, you think it's so beautiful out there. And then you take the dog out and you go, he doesn't even want to be out there. He's out, the pride's out there like with a foot up, another foot up, but he can't handle the cold. So what's it like in Niagara Falls? How has been your weekend?
Actually, the weekend was really nasty. Snow, cold, mix of rain, little snow, ice. But today, beautiful. It's actually 8 above.
Whoa.
Everything is melting. The roads are back to being black and bare, wet
Oh,
but black.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
going to get warmer all week, they say.
Wow. Well, that's been our weekend weather report, if that's what you want to hear, because today the conversation is up for grabs because there's so much going on. So, in the meantime, Sylvia and I are working on my book and her books. And how are things going with the book, Sylvia?
With your book, things are going absolutely marvelous. Everything's falling in place, but I mean, it's your manuscript, so of course it's going to be perfect. It's going to be wow. When I read it, I think, I should have thought of that. I should be doing that. No, seriously, I read some of the things and I'm thinking, you know what, that's a good idea.
Oh,
And as for my book, my new children's book is coming right along. It'll be out mid-February, I expect. I'm the one lagging. My illustrator texted me this morning. So what's the next picture I have to draw? And I'm thinking,
oh. Well, that's because you're busy helping me too. You have to remember,
well, that's okay.
you're busy working with me too. All right. Well, I've emailed some people this morning that I feel, here's how I feel about my book. I wrote it at a grade 3 level, not because I don't think people can read, but people don't understand. We have huge literacy issues across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So that comes from my educational experience. So, I wrote it at a grade 3 level. It's completely laid out so that people can actually understand the information. Comprehension is very important when you're reading, and then can do the exercises that go along with. And I emailed a friend of mine this morning and I said, you know what? This book needs to be in the hands of every youth, every young adult, and every adult that is looking to move forward. People are so stuck in the past or in the recent tragedy or a death, and I understand that. But we're still here and we have to go on. So that's my goal, Sylvia, is to get that book. That's a minor investment, minor for communities to get some help in the hands of their community members.
And Laurie, your book is so timely. Right now, we're globally, not just Canada and the US, but globally. This world is in chaos. Things are happening too fast, changes are coming. Nobody's prepared completely emotionally, and they really need this book. As I said, you just said you wrote it in a grade 3 to 4 level. And I'm laughing because I thought, well, geez, maybe that's where I am, because I think it's written so, I call it casual. Anyone can read each statement and know exactly what you're saying. And I love that style.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And right now, as you said, there's so much chaos. We're losing our young people. They're deciding that not to be here is the better option. Right now, in one of our Indigenous communities, I just read a post, every other day they're burying somebody.
Wow.
Every other day. And this is a very wealthy community. They have had lots of money to try and deal with the problems, but obviously that's not working. So we need some tools. And so we're dedicated, you and I, for the next 12 months to prepare some serious tools.
Absolutely.
Even if we can't be there, at least there's access to those tools. That's my only focus right now, Sylvia. I'm serious.
Oh, I know that. I know that. And I can see it in your work. It's, like I said, seriously, all joking aside, as I've been, formatting it, etc., I'm thinking, I wish I'd known that like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that are coming to mind. And yeah, this is going to be so, especially with the young people. I've read the one for the young people as well. And like you said, there's too many they give up on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they need your help, which you've put out in these books.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, it will help direct them, get them on the right path, get them thinking logically.
Right. And I know that because of my track record, 32 years. These books have been in existence. Actually, they just haven't been in a book format. So these tools that we are putting in the books are tried, tested, true. Thousands of people have been through them. It's not like I'm the new kid on the block and, I've got this brilliant idea. No. We've been doing this work for many years, and away we go. Now, one of our clients here, the Disability Channel, they made a comment. They said, I found that volunteering helped them, and people need to be part of something bigger. And both of those statements are true out of context, but in reality, we can't really help somebody else if we're not helping ourselves. We think we might be helping somebody else, but if we're using that to feel better about who we are, then that's not really what we're talking about, is it, Sylvia?
No, and I think sometimes they do try, they figure volunteering and helping will help, but they end up becoming lost in the other person's issues because they haven't dealt with their own. And sometimes it can be detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as you know, I counseled youth for 35 years volunteering at a drop-in center, and I noticed that a lot, that the ones that were laughing the most and thinking, I'm great, I'm happy, they're the ones with the most problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So thank you to our viewer for bringing that up, because that's oftentimes what people do is they get busy, they help others, they take care of people, because as long as we're doing all of that, we don't have to think about us. That's why people become counselors and therapists. As long as I'm helping you with your problems, I don't have to think about my own. But it's not about being a better person. It's about being effective. And so a lot of times when we're not healed ourselves, we can create damage in other people. What do you know about that?
I agree 100%. And like you said, it's not about helping others. There was an old adage years ago, if you don't love you, you can't love anyone else.
Mm-mm.
And if you don't know yourself, and if you don't know your strengths and your weaknesses, how are you able to help someone else with those issues if you yourself don't know? It's great that they're volunteering and it's great that they're making the effort, but they have to find themselves first.
Mm. And I thank you. And I use the word, it's not about being better. It's about being effective. It's about being effective. Mm-hmm. So how effective are we, when we're communicating with the people we're trying to help, or we're communicating with hubby or family or friends? If you're not a good communicator, you're ineffective.
Absolutely.
I learned that the hard way.
Mm-hmm. When we were raising our two children, we always told them, you have your talks with the kids and you explain things, but we told them as they became teenagers, when you do something wrong, I don't care how bad it is, I don't care. Make sure we know about it before the police or a teacher or somebody like that comes knocking on the door. Come and tell us about it. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, we'll stand beside you. We'll help you through it. Just don't repeat that same mistake.
Right. Exactly. But when you're full of love for yourself, then you have lots to give away.
Absolutely.
It's just like I say this so many times, you cannot give somebody groceries if you don't have any in your cupboard. You have to keep filling your own cup, and then love is exponential, love is infinite, and you have more to give. And you don't just give it to a select group. You have people that you can love. You love everybody you meet then. Right?
Yep.
Introducing Veteran House Alliance International Monthly 50/50 Raffle. Purchase your ticket today, link on display, and have a chance to win cash and help a great platform supporting veterans.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. And you're wearing an elephant necklace, and I'm not referring to that, okay?
Oh, good. He's a good elephant.
Yeah, we've got your elephant around your neck, but, some very big news came down to us Canadians yesterday. I don't know how long it's been since our parliament has sat on a Sunday to resolve what came forth from President Trump yesterday in terms of what's going to happen to us on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, and how that's impacting us personally, professionally, politically. There's all the P's: personally, professionally, politically. Not to mention Pacific Palisades. It's all P's, I'm telling you. And all I can see is poverty and confusion. And so let's go to that. Let's talk about that. And we're not going to point fingers or lay blame. We're just going to talk about, because we're seniors in our country. And we need our fresh fruits and vegetables. We need all kinds of things that we import from the US of A. My favorite wine comes from Bakersfield in California. It's the only thing I like to have a drink from. I don't drink anything else. I don't drink Busch beer and Budweiser, and I'm telling you. So on a personal level, will we be able to get some of the medical things that we need, some of the, opportunities that we could embrace? So over to you, Sylvia, because you've been on the planet longer than I have, a little bit, not much, but you were a World War II baby, and I didn't come until after the war. And, when our food security gets threatened and our safety, We're Canadians, and we will not stand for that.
No.
I have to tell you that. I have to tell the world that, because I'm a Canadian, born and raised, and we have this truly pioneer, paved the road in our DNA. This is a rough country up here, and it's cold and it's harsh, and we have people who came here and got through all that. So there's a piece of our DNA that you maybe don't understand. Over to you, Sylvia. What are you seeing in your neck of the woods?
Well, you said about the pioneers and harsh. Sometimes when I'm out driving, just I know I'm off topic a bit, and I think about that. You're driving through, say, a wooded area, nothing around, just this one road. And I often think, can you imagine? Some of them would be portaging with their canoes or their covered wagons, and I thought, wow, that would have been, they would have made hardly any forward motion in a day. But as for everything else, I remember the days when we had ration tokens for food, and we were very fortunate because my aunt had a farm, and we were never short of food, milk, butter, or anything. So what we would do is, with the neighbors who had kids and needed them, we used to give the tokens to them.
Oh, wow.
But it gets pretty, I think from my experience, I thought it brought people together. Like in the neighborhoods or areas I lived, everyone seemed to be there for each other. And we've lost all that in today's world. But as for the food, there were shortages. It was rare for you to have an orange, a banana. Oh my goodness, you thought you died and went to heaven if you got a banana.
Yes.
And I don't think Canada has to worry about that in all this that's going on now. Because Canada has made, in preparation, Canada has made free trade deals with places like Mexico, South America, South Africa, Germany. We will have everything we need, and it will be free trade. We don't have to worry about his tariffs. He is actually, in my opinion, the US of A is being destroyed from the inside out.
I had a text this morning from a friend of mine in California, and she had been a client a couple of years ago, and we still stay in touch. And she is so heartbroken that the US would even consider threatening in any way their two neighboring countries. So on one side, you've got people being sent back to their country of origin, even second and third generation, not acknowledging babies that have been born in the United States. And then on the north side, all of our resources and fuel, energy, minerals, diamonds, all the things that are in our ground that we shared on both sides of the fence. So there's two issues here. Let's get rid of all the laborers. So now there's nobody going to be left to pick strawberries for $5 an hour. And if we can't afford to bring them in, we're not going to be buying them anyway. That's how I see that.
Yep.
Let's do the math. Now, our prime minister said that we tax, that would mean there would be tariffs on $155 billion worth of goods going from Canada to the US. Now you take that and multiply it by 10, because we only have 10% of the population of the US. We can't compete, first of all. And can you imagine what they bring to us? They bring lots to us. Lots. Because they have more to bring, because of the size of the population, the number of businesses, etc. So who's going to lose here?
Well, the States is going to lose.
Right.
And they bring a lot of products to us, but we can also get those from other places.
Right.
And when I saw on the news officials going to apparently illegal immigrants. I'm not sure, who they were exactly, but they were actually going to the houses that they are living in. They probably have a mortgage on that house. They're hardworking people. And here they just gather them up and put them on a bus. Like, there is no democracy in that. That is just, there isn't a word for what he's doing. That is just terrible. And like you said, they aren't even new immigrants. They've been there for years.
Well, they've also started going to schools.
Yes.
And gathering up kids.
Oh my goodness.
That was I saw that.
But
we know the media. We know the media can add things, take away things, not give us the whole story. So that's why we're keeping it personal. Two seniors living in Canada who've actually been through stuff, right? You and I.
Oh yeah.
We just came through COVID. Our parents went through the Great Depression. Our dads, your dad and my dad, went overseas during World War II and fought for our freedom. And, what the heck? It's 2025. Let's get things together.
The way things are going, I personally think Canada is going to actually benefit from all this.
Yes.
I know our dollar right now is, I believe it said this morning, 68 cents, but I guarantee you within a week or less, our dollar is going to start going up, but the US dollar is going to go down. And like to cut off, there is that theory or questions going around that they're going to cut off oil and hydro to the USA. And I feel sorry for the people who have to suffer because of the way things are going by whoever's in charge over there. And it puts me back in mind of when I was little, like just after the Second World War, and some of it was during the Second World War. We actually, back then it was steam engine trains. And when we heard the train coming and it blew the whistle, we knew it would be at the end of our street in about 5 minutes. All the kids in the neighborhood would grab boxes. We would run down to the ditch beside the tracks, and the coalman on the train, when he saw kids, standing there with boxes, he would actually throw coal off into the ditch and we'd run and gather it.
Oh, wow.
Because in those days, we not only heated with coal, we cooked with coal.
Right.
There was one big stove that sat like the way the layout where it was kind of circular.
Yes.
The stove was sort of in the middle with a bit of a wall, around it. But yeah, we'd run to the ditch. When you heard the whistle, you knew, get down there. And
wow. Yeah.
And I hope that things to that effect, not with coal, it would be other types of fuel, of course. But it makes me wonder how they're going to survive those cold winters in the northern parts of the States if they do something like that. And yet we may have to, because Canada and the Canadians are what's important here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it too, as for, the Chinese conversion of the word crises is opportunity. Yep. So I read where all the stores were busy here yesterday. Everybody's searching for Canadian labels, and, they're taking American liquor off the shelves as we speak right now. American liquor will not be allowed through the border. And I was thinking about, there was one little article about someone on the Post, because there's Facebook posts coming up now, made in Canada, all Canadian. Doody-doo. And I've joined a couple of them because I wanted to see what was going on. So this one lady said, I cannot find a bottle of pickles that have been made in Canada. They're all American. Well, to me, if I didn't have anything else to do, I know how to make pickles because we made homemade pickles for years.
Absolutely.
I would start a pickle company, right? Because here's an opportunity to provide that product to Canadians who otherwise are challenged. So I see if you're open-minded and you are, you've got that kind of entrepreneurial thing going on, there's opportunities here. And I think there will be businesses flourish here that maybe were sitting dormant or nobody thought of it yet or whatever, because we're very self-sufficient. And I don't know that people understand that about Canadians. When I go overseas, and you've been to Africa and all that, I make sure on my lapel is a Canadian flag pin. Otherwise, they assume we're Americans. And I have no problem with that because I love the States. I have been in all the states, all of them except Alaska and Hawaii. I've been in every single one. And I would have moved there years ago because of the opportunities, right? So this isn't about not liking the United States. But that's what it's going to come down to, you see. You're going to have brother against brother. Sister against, my sister lives in Michigan. My brother lives in Ottawa. And it's that dysfunctional breakdown of relationships.
Yep.
See, I'm more concerned about our relationship with the United States than I am about the money or the tariffs or the products. This has been an ongoing, loving relationship for almost 200 years.
We welcome you to advertise and promote your goods and services, and or brand your logo to 34 million subscribers on Canada Talks 167. Your investment will go towards our employment programs in the media industry for persons with disabilities and veterans.
Well, I don't think, the way I see it, I don't think it's actually going to affect personal relationships between Canadians and Americans. They have been interviewing here yesterday. It was on this morning's news. And they've been interviewing American visitors. Because as you know, Niagara Falls, we get over 1 million visitors a year.
Yes.
Yes. It's a mecca, right, for tourism. And they were interviewing quite a few down by the falls. And they were all saying the same thing. They all said that we can't control, they being the Americans, said we can't control what is going on. And one of them actually called him a dictator. He said, I don't know how people put him in office. We don't care about that. What concerns us is we are friends. We have friends in Canada. We have relatives in Canada. That isn't going to change.
Uh-huh.
That isn't going to change. But then one tourist said, and this was a bit unnerving, he said, you never know with that guy. He may make our border like the wall that divided East and West Berlin.
Right.
Because of Musk, that fellow going around hailing Hitler. Yeah, sorry. It almost
That's
slipped.
okay. That's okay. No, it's true. And instead of bringing the walls down, they're rebuilding them back up. Like we just went back. I said, okay, if I can't get my favorite alcohol, it's almost like prohibition, It's like we just went back 100 years, people. Because now in order to get it, I'm going to have to smuggle it. Well, I'm not about to do that, for one. But you see how this opens up the door for more crime, more chaos. Okay, the Canadians really love that Jack Daniels, but they can't get it now. I know a family member of mine that's going to be totally set back by that. So let's smuggle it in. Okay, well, that's crime. See how it opens the door for crime.
I don't think they're going to be smuggling it in. I think what's going to happen is they'll start up the moonshine businesses again.
Well, there you go. There you go. Right?
So
Exactly.
Opportunity, right?
Of course. Of course. Yeah, let's see what Kathy has to say about this. My cousin Blair owns a gauge company in Michigan, and he likes Trump. That's fine. He knows that I don't, and we agree to disagree. But his daughters don't like Trump either. Well, nobody says that they like Trump. You don't have to like a politician for him to get the job done. So I'm just going to put a plug in there, right? You don't have to like somebody. what's important is that that person listens to their leaders. Like, for example, yesterday I saw an interview with the incumbent liberal female leader who could come in and be head of the Liberal Party and also become our prime minister. That made me nervous when I listened to her speaking. I thought, you know what? I could do a better job than this. Whoa. But at the same time, I don't have to like her. She could be an extremely effective leader, but I'm not seeing it. I mean, in 6 weeks, we won't have a leader. We're wide open, man. Anybody could come in and take over. What are you thinking?
Well, they said that our prime minister will keep his position until a new one is put in place. So we will not be without a prime minister.
No.
Regardless of the time element, he is staying in his job until he is replaced physically.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, until that time, he will be our prime minister.
Mm-hmm.
So that isn't a worry. And I think he did amazing when he had his little speech, and he said, and he said too, historically, like you said in the beginning, historically, the U.S., Canada, Mexico, we have all been friends. We've all dealt. We've all, compromised with each other and made everything work, helping each other. And then suddenly, Trump comes in, and I'm sure everyone's heard all the people he's hiring for these high jobs are criminals. And even the FBI in the States told him, you can't put him in. He has to pass through, FBI. And he said, no. He said, I'm in charge. I'll put in who I want.
Yeah, well, I think that's called a dictatorship. I'm not sure, but,
I'm pretty sure that's what you call it.
So off the topic here a little bit, Kathy made a comment. USA has crappy tea. Their tea is weak. They do not have Tetley tea there. Well, I don't even like Tetley, okay? But I will tell you, in Halifax and New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, the best tea on the planet exists. It's called King Cole. So the Tetley tea, no, I'm a no-go there either, Kathy, but thank you for that. You're right. They don't know how to make tea. You have to, but if you want a great cup of coffee, whoo, yes, right? So yeah, it's all good. I did read a post where a woman spent 4 hours grocery shopping yesterday that normally takes her an hour. And that is because she was doing what, Sylvia?
Reading the labels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Reading the labels.
My sister told me that today, too. She called to say she doesn't have good eyesight. She said, every item I picked up, she said, I asked someone close by me or a service person, tell me, is this made in Canada? And if they'd say, no, it's made in Peru or Timbuktu, she'd just put it back. She said, I'm buying nothing except Canada.
Oh, well, if I have to get blueberries from Peru, which mine are right now up in the fridge, I'm buying them because they're delicious. They're sweet.
Well, I would too.
Yeah, right?
It's just U.S. you don't want to buy.
And we bought a grapefruit the other day. It was from South Africa.
Yep.
I didn't even know it until I read the sign, and I went, I'm going to try that. Honestly, the best grapefruit I've ever eaten. Yeah.
And they're
no, I'm lying. Kudos to my beautiful friend, Dr. Susie Mearswick. She gave me a grapefruit from her backyard in California, and it was amazing. Right off the tree. Boom.
Well, you haven't tasted pineapple until you've had South African pineapple.
Serious.
I buy the pineapple over here and I think, yuck. I actually don't buy it very often because I got too used to the real thing.
Ah, yes.
And no pineapple over here just kind of cuts it.
Right. Well, I'm wondering how all of this will impact travel. I've been thinking about that. People on cruises and flying to the States and coming to Canada. Like, everything will be impacted either directly or indirectly.
They were talking about that on the news too, about the travel. And I think the travel industry is going to take a big hit.
Mm-hmm.
But even travel agents in Canada were saying there is so many things to see in Canada, history, nature. Maybe now it's time to explore your own country.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, there was a few interviewed, and they said they were planning to go to somewhere in the States, and they've canceled their hotel because they're a little worried. The way things are going, there could be civil war in the States.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what they'd be getting into, so they don't want to go to the States. They're going to stay in Canada. And that was about 95% have said that.
Well, I'm thinking about our snowbirds. You know, we have people who live in Canada full time, but they love going to Arizona, Florida, California, the warmer temperatures. And they've actually been doing it for years. They've bought property down there. How does this impact them? I mean, there's so many aspects of who it's impacting.
There is. I think though with the properties, when Trump was in before, he had already put so many issues for Canadians who own property in the States that now this is factual. I have 15 friends, properties in various areas of the States, Texas, Florida, Utah, etc. They all sold them.
Mm-hmm.
They said, if this happens again, I'm not going to be here with property.
No, that's right.
And I think a lot of these snowbirds are going to do that.
Yeah. Yes, there's lots here. We're so blessed. And some people say, well, I don't know how you stand the cold. But you know what? When it's cold, there's no bugs, there's no flu, that bacteria can't live in those temperatures. And of course, we always go back to our ancestors, and they lived in igloos, they lived in tents, they lived in log cabins with no insulation. And it actually, the cold weather makes you smarter. I'm convinced. I have no scientific basis on which I can say that, but I really do, because you have to be able to think and on your feet for sure. So, there's sadness all around about this. But I did put up on my post, and you'll be proud of me, on one of the Canadian posts, because you brought this up to me last week. And you and I are both Canadian authors. You own a Canadian publishing company. Our printer is Canadian, Creeman, Patrick. You know what? I put up on the post, I'm a Canadian author. My books are being proofed, published, and printed in Canada by Canadian. And I put that up in the Canadian site.
The Disability Channel would like to thank our existing sponsors. We really appreciate the support and kindness from the BIAs across the GTA, Ontario, Canada, and our friends in the USA. We love making new friends. Thank you for supporting our existing employment programs.
And that's good. That's what I boast too with all of my books. Every book I've ever written, it's written by a Canadian. It's published by Canadian, which is me, of course. But everything is Canadian in my book. There's no U.S. involvement. I mean, yes, you put it on Amazon, and that's global for sales. But as for the creation, it's all Canadian.
Mm-hmm. Well, one compilation book that I was in, they went all the way to China to get printed. And then when they came back, it cost us more for shipping because it was during and after COVID. Shipping had gone up 230% during COVID.
Wow.
So it cost me $1,000 to get my books out of Hawk, which wasn't even the value of the books. That was just the shipping bill for 50 books. Like, who does that, right? So this is why I'm with you, of course, for everything that we need to do to get books out there. And I would encourage others to do the same. But boy, oh boy, it's going to impact everything. everything.
And if you do choose to buy anything in the States, and if you do choose to go over there, our dollar right now is 68 cents. Is it really worth it? No.
Yeah. No.
Buy it in Canada, buy Canadian, deal with Canada only. And I just thought of something I was going to mention on today's news. They announced that Trudeau had also said it's not only about tariffs on products, it's also about the fact that there are American, say, contractors, construction companies, etc., in all different industries. American people come to Canada, and they're going to construct buildings, businesses, houses, whatever. And he said, from here on in, no, all American businesses that are in Canada, their contracts are going to be canceled. Mm-hmm. Because there are construction companies in Canada who are, they need the work. But a construction company from the States comes in, well, their dollar is higher than ours, therefore they can do the job cheaper. So, of course, they're going to get the contract, right?
Yes.
But that's not fair to the Canadian companies. So it was right on the news this morning. All the American businesses that are like contractors, construction, whatever they're doing, that we have Canadian people that can do the job, their contracts will be canceled and we'll use Canadian only.
Wow.
I thought that was fantastic. It's about time.
Well, and the other thing about that construction, when you think about California and the tragedies of those fires and all of the reconstruction that needs to take place, well, Canada is their largest importer for lumber. All the lumber, the wood, comes from here.
Yep.
Please, like really? And they're going to need that so desperately, especially after those fires.
Yep.
It's almost like it's an internal, what would you call it? I don't know, but
it's
bug killing people from the inside out. It's like, what are you doing?
My concept is he's like the little boy out in the field with a bunch of other kids who are going to play baseball. He's got the ball. He owns a ball. Nobody else owns a ball. And he says, I'm pitcher. And they say, but you can't pitch? Fine. If I don't have it my way, I'm a spoiled little brat. I'm going to go home.
Yeah.
It's the same
scenario. Great analogy. Yeah. But I just want our American family and friends to know that we are there for you on whatever level we're able to provide. And the things that we provide, you cannot tariff that because it's a conversation. What are you going to do? Put a tax on that?
Hey, you never know.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No.
And we love our American friends and clients, and we're just feeling, I think, all around badly for all of us because we're going to miss out too. And what about pharmaceuticals? A lot of our pharmaceuticals come from those big labs in the United States. Does this mean that medications and everything like that are also going to go up, which means for us seniors, that's impacting us?
I don't think it will, though, because maybe it isn't well known, but we get a lot of our pharmaceuticals, a lot of our, CAT scans, things like that. Believe it or not, they come out of Germany.
Okay. And we have a free trade agreement with Germany, so we're good.
Free trade agreement. So I don't think, like, all of this, of course, has to all come together, and it may be tough for a couple of weeks. But in the end, it's going to be okay. And when it comes to our friends, family that are living in the States, you can't tariff friendship. You can't tariff the feelings of the heart. You can't change that.
No.
And for people, it's not going to change. That's going to always be the same.
Yeah, because it's soulful. It's about the soul and the heart. And I agree. And those relationships are there forever because we built those relationships based on trust and love and the things that you can't sever. Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
you can't cut
Which
it
makes
down.
the book really timely. 21 days to happiness, joy, and inner peace. Mr. Trump needs to buy a copy for everybody in his country, and Mr. Trudeau the same. Now there's a thought.
Hey, I think we could have a bestseller that way.
I'm thinking. You know what, boys? You got to muster up and protect your people and look after your people and use whatever you have at your fingertips to do so. And this whole thing, just scares me to death that we would have come to this.
I worry seriously. Not everyone is for for Trump in power. Not everyone is for him. And when they see that he's actually destroying their country, I sincerely worry that there may be civil war in the States.
Mhm.
We're going back to the days of revolution, that he's putting us back in history, not forward.
Yeah, well, that happens here too, right?
Oh, I know,
That happens here in our country too.
but not to that degree.
Well, that's just because there's more of them. You know, our country is the population of California. You've got a lot less numbers to deal with. But when you're talking 350 million people,
That's a lot.
on a landmass smaller than Canada, by the way, a lot of people don't understand that.
No.
You know, we're the second largest country in the world, Canada, landmass.
Yep.
And here's another thing. We have more pure water than any country on the planet. Now there's a commodity, right? Yeah.
And our minerals,
Oh, yeah.
even with the oil, the States buys a lot of oil and hydro from us. We
Yes.
supply hydro for most of the Midwest and the northern states. And Trump said he knows that if we cut it off, they're in trouble. So Trump actually said, I'm only going to charge 10% tariff
Yes.
on the oil. But then our government said, well, he's only doing that because he knows it's a commodity they really need. He said, no, we're going to put an extra 15% on it. Therefore, it's 25% across the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Wow.
you can't let him just pick and choose.
Well,
If
he's
you-
calling the shots, I guess.
Yeah, well, you can't do that.
Well, I
it's just
think
the
as
way
people, we need to, stick together. Whichever side of the border you live on, doesn't really matter.
Nope.
Stick together and continue to do your work and continue to write, continue to talk, continue to teach, because the message of peace is what we need right now. And the message of love and the message of friendship. These things are way more important than a tariff.
And the message is in your book, seriously, because that book does pull people together.
Aw, thanks.
Seriously, it does when you read it. And of course, I do as I'm proving
How many times have you had to read it, right?
many times.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's going to draw people together. It's going to make people see what they aren't seeing now in themselves and in others.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Yeah. And we need to pray for our leaders, for
Oh.
wisdom and for courage and for insight. And I don't know about you, Sylvia, but I'm really, really concerned about our young people.
Yeah.
And they have no coping skills. They went through COVID. I was just speaking with, I'll use my grandson for an example. He's 22 now, but he was an honor student all the way through school. He worked really hard. And then all of a sudden COVID hits and there's no graduation. There's no prom. There's no anything.
I know.
And that hurt our young people at that time. And these events hurt people. We're all hurting right now because we can't get our favorite this or that. We're going to have to we're all going to have to make sacrifices. No, it's not right.
No.
After decades of sharing
Yep.
our countries. Mm-hmm.
I worry about my great-grandson because he's just turned 12. And I wonder what is, what's the world going to be like for him as he becomes a teenager and an adult? And the children that are children now are going to be running this world, and I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have the role models or the mentors,
No.
They're scarce. All right. Well, that's our show for today. We didn't know what we were going to talk about. We don't have scripts on our show. The Dr. Laurie Davis Show is not pre-scripted, not with a guest, not with a co-host, and we just grab whatever's coming up in our heart and send it out to you. So I'm trusting that today supported you. Love your family, build peace in your home. Peace comes from building it in myself first, then my family, then my home, and we take it out there. It all starts with us. So Sylvia, again, as usual, always beautiful words of wisdom. Thank you so much for being with me on Monday. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because we know stuff.
We do.
We might be two old gals on here, but we know stuff because we've been there, done that, right?
And quickly, that's a point that the young people aren't taking advantage of. They think old people are old people. We have more wisdom and knowledge than they'll ever have.
Right, because we came through the changes. Right. Yes, we did. We came from handmade books to now, technology, printer press, blip, blip. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. So everybody have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow with Dr. Ramin Modiri, our financial guru, and I'm pretty sure he'll have some more insight on these tariffs. So if you want an informative show again tomorrow, please join us. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Who are you? Standing in the dark, I see your face, but the pieces broke apart. Where are you from? Why are you here? Can you tell me all the secrets that you fear? Lying down a dark, empty road, fighting just for one glimpse of hope, and she's always alone. ahead. And I know those eyes somehow struggling to breathe. All this time I've been deceived in this broken and shattered soul that I've tried to free. I see me in a dark, lonely road, fighting just for one glimpse of hope. And she's always alone, so I try to be strong as I tell her the one thing I'm always haunted from is to be known you're not alone.